first question is that when did you hear metal music for the first time? Do you remember?
That's a long time ago. I think 6th grade or 7th grade. I was 12 maybe. Of course, I've heard it before, but I didn't pay attention to it as much. But I think I heard some Metallica or something like that. One of my first concerts ever was a Metallica show in Copenhagen in 2003. I remember that Slipknot was warming up for them, and that was when I paid attention to metal music and to metal vocals all in all. That was like the new metal era at that time. So I guess a lot of like Limp Bizkit and Slipknot, Deftones has run through the veins. I guess so. I kind of grew up in like the can I say shitty time of what other people seems look upon as the shitty time of metal. But you know, you gain access in some point, and you have to start somewhere.
Next question: do you remember when you heard like first time growling or screaming?
I think it was through Linkin Park or something like that. Chester Bennington, like something like growling. He was a very good screamer, and you can hear he put a lot of like emotion into it. I guess so. So I guess that was like the first time. Hybrid Theory or Meteor or something like that. I remember One Step Closer to the End or something like that was like the first time I heard something. That was kind of, if you think about it, it was a really like aggressive scream on that. Yeah, when he puts that like shut up thing. I think that was the first time.
So how did you ended up screaming for the first time? How old were you around that time?
Well, I started late because first I was actually playing bass at the first time, and I was really like invested in playing bass. But like throughout playing bands and like from the start I didn't play heavy music. I was doing like cover bands and stuff like that, just fun. But throughout my interest of metal, I felt the need at some point to try it out, and it came mostly with my old band Livløs when we started in 2014 or 15. Then we started. I started playing the bass, and then we had I wouldn't even call it like a frontman or singer at that time, but he was not getting into it with growling and stuff like that. So I just picked up the microphone and just started growling at that time. Yeah, and I guess that was the first time I really did like growling. And then from that on, I just tried hitting it on from that time. Trying my best, you know, getting into it. But I've always kind of like felt a need, like from back in the teenage days, I guess so. I think it was really cool that you can produce that kind of sound from a human voice. It's kind of extreme. I remember there was a time where I was listening a lot to Killswitch Engage at that time, and some Swedish stuff, In Flames and stuff like that. And then I was like, wow, we can really fucking pull this kind of sound off. Slipknot as well, like really aggressive. And I was like trying to do it, but it didn't fit well with doing it back at the teenage. I was a bit like shy, I guess so. I didn't want people to be like in kind of like scared or anything like that. So I guess I waited till there was a room for it when I started doing heavy music, I guess. So I started a bit late.
So were you like rehearsing a lot when you started growling, and were there like some certain songs that you first tried to sort of like cover to develop your own voice?
We started. I didn't rehearse a lot, but of course afterwards, when it came to me becoming the singer and the frontman in my old band, I was like, okay, so this is what I'm gonna do now. So I'm gonna, get to band practice and get in the rehearse. But I did it all by myself. Most of the time it hurt from the start, but usually I found my way of doing it my own way. So I didn't rehearse a lot, but when it came to it, we did a lot of practice in the rehearsal room. So in that case, I think we started doing some covers by Blinded by Fear by at the Gates. We did some Hate Sphere, I remember. We sang a song called Floating from an album, a Hate Sphere album, old Hate Sphere album called Serpent Smiles and Killer Eyes. And I think we also did Toxicity by System of a Down, just as a tryout from that time. Yeah. And then we started like to produce our own songs and stuff like that, and then yeah.
So when you first started screaming, did you lose your voice, and did it take like a lot of time to develop a voice that was like lasting if you do like several shows in a row?
It's taken time. I remember the second gig I ever did, I completely lost my voice for a week, and I said, I can't go on doing it like this. And that's when I became aware of technique, I guess so, and modulating, I don't know what to call it, and trying to work, with breath and with diaphragm and stuff like that, try to be more aware to not hurting my voice. So after that, I was trying to change the vocal pattern in a certain style, and afterwards it's actually been mostly positive. I've seemed to find my own way of doing it. I don't know if I'm technically that much aware, but that time I became aware of I had to do something different, not to lose my voice. And today I can do 30 shows in a row without losing my voice. Sometimes I feel it's like sore, but usually I can go hit it off every day. Yeah.
So when you started growling, were you sort of like copying the Idolists, like you said that you were covering like System of a Down, and were you like copying them, or did you all, like immediately try to develop your own voice and your own style?
When I entered Baest, I of course there were some frontmen I was like inspired of, but most of the time I tried to develop myself. Of course there are icons, Mikael Åkerfeldt, Dave Vincent, Glenn Benson, all these, Donald Tardy, all these like inspirations that of course I've reflected myself in, but usually I've thought it for myself to develop as a singer most of the time. So yeah, so I guess that's my point in it. Yeah.
So when you perform, do you have like a specific way to hold the microphone?
Yeah, that I don't have so much control over. Sometimes usually we have a very good sound guy who always tells me not to cop, but when hitting stage and everything is fucking fire and show is going on, man, it just happens to slip right down in here at some point.
So, once again,
Yeah.
same question. So did you have some specific way to hold the microphone?
In Baest, we have a very good sound guy who will try to tell me every time that I don't have to cut because it's shitty for the sound. But when the show starts and hell is breaking loose, then my hand is slipping into the formation, and then at some point it happens. Sometimes I do it, but I'm trying to hold on like this, but it's weird. It looks stupid, you know. It's like holding a fucking metal dick into your head, you know. And I'm trying to use like a stand or something like that, maybe to like compensate. I don't know. And I usually use a wireless, so it's like it's sticking out and it looks weird. So sometimes it's just freeing to hold it like this, but it's shitty for the sound. So I'm trying to experiment a bit, I guess so.
How about using a headset?
A headset? Oh, well, is this Formula 1 or what? I guess so. No, I would never use the headset. It's not a musical. But maybe if I was like, who's doing like, there's a drummer doing like a headset. Is it Autopsy or something? The singer, and he's doing it, right? Yeah, I guess that's pretty cool. But it's also kind of weird. I wouldn't do it. No.
So what were like your own parents' reactions when they heard that you started growling in a metal band?
You know, my parents are really open-minded, and my mom is a teacher, and my dad is also a pedagogue. He's an old automobile mechanic as well. But they are very open-minded and have always like brought up me and my two siblings like very open-minded and like liberal, I guess so. And they're very good. They've been very good at reflecting on the time. Of course, they think like it's a bit weird, but you know, there are all sorts of like subcultural ways of expressing yourself, you know, and to reflect the time right now. And they were pretty aware of that, I guess. And at least I didn't get into some like, you know, rock group or became a hooligan or a freaking Nazi or something like that. I actually just became a metalhead, and my parents are very proud of me, and they don't think it's odd at all. They think like it's a bit noisy and screaming, but they'll actually attend the show today. So I'm looking very much forward to see my parents. Yeah.
So they are going to see the show?
They're going to see the show. They have been to a lot of Baest shows throughout the time, yeah? And they're usually really happy and can see the idea.
Do you have brothers and sisters who are also coming?
I have a smaller sister who's also coming, and my brother is not attending. He's working today, but he has been to quite some Baest shows as well. He's attended as well. So, yeah.
So, are there like some certain drinks or foods that you would rather not have before the shows, that you have seen that it affects your voice or somehow affects your performance?
I don't know if there are any drinks that I don't enjoy, but it's, you know, it's a mixture because alcohol is never a good thing before. It's a good thing to like to in terms of like being nervous and calm down the nerves, but it's not good for your voice. But you know, it's I like a tasty beverage before a show, you know, and I usually do. I know it's not good, but I usually do. I prefer calming down my nerves before my vocal technique, but usually I can pull it off anyway. So there's a drink in Slovakia called kofola. It's it's their brand of Coca-Cola, I guess so, and that was the weirdest beverage I've ever had. I wouldn't enjoy that before a show. And the guys from Slovakia knows that, so like they know my opinion on that. It's a weird mixture because they really like that Kovola, but I really didn't. And but respect for those that do.
So, do you prepare the voice for the show somehow? Do you have some kind of like routines, or do you just jump on stage and start performing?
Sometimes I do, yeah. When I know performance today, I usually do like a warm up. I do normal voice trainings. I have like a YouTube channel that I like follow, and I also went to a vocal coach at some point one time, where I'm using some exercises from him. But usually I do maybe 10-15 minutes of warm-up and then get on stage. It's also about like getting the whole body warm, you know. It's quite it's really you have to do a lot of exercise, you know, when you're on stage, and sometimes I can feel that especially in the start of a show. I usually have to fight a bit more and to like struggle a bit more to make it happen, but maybe after 2 or 3 songs it's usually okay. But from the start I'm really suffocating sometimes, so I guess I also have to do like more physical warm-ups. Yeah.
Do you have some specific ways to sort of maintain the voice if you are on the road? Do you have some routines? Do you try to avoid speaking or any like those kinds of stuff?
Yeah, I usually try to avoid smoking and also partying too much, and not to talk in a wrong way, if you can actually say that. But I've spoken to a voice pedagogue who's actually saying some people learn themselves to speak in a wrong way, which is not good. It's hurting the voice. Some people just have a normal voice, which is not good for them. And then they have to train it. Actually, they said to me like, there's a lot of people coming in which is suffocating because of their voice. They had to like modulize their natural voice because they spoke in a wrong way. So I'm not avoiding too much, but cigarettes and stuff like that I try to avoid too much. And also dusty places like this is not so good, but usually I can pull it off. I've been in much worse conditions, which was absolutely fine. Yeah.
Anything you wanna say to a new metal vocalist? Any kind of advices that you would like to give? Anything that you have done like wrong yourself that you have noticed, or anything?
If it hurts, stop. Try to do something else. Rehearse. Enjoy it. Get into the rehearsal room with your bandmates and enjoy it. And rehearse. Try to find your own way. It's great to have icons and inspirations, but when you get up on those stages, if you want to get up on those stages, they want to hear your voice, not somebody else's voice. They want to listen to your voice. So practice, enjoy it, and find your own voice.
Yes. Okay, because now we are here in Copenhagen Hell Festival, and this is kind of your home area. So, of course, I have to ask something about your relationship with the Danish metal scene and the bands. So, for example, tomorrow we have Merciful Fate coming out a long way to reunion with King Diamond.
Yeah.
So, what kind of relationship do you have with those bands?
I actually don't have that big a relationship. I was, when I first got into metal and like was experiencing a lot of bands, I was listening a lot to King Diamond, but I never caught the Merciful Fate thing. I definitely did afterwards, and that guy has done, and that band has done so much inspiration and so means so much to the not only the Danish not only the Danish like metal culture, but for the whole world. You know, Metallica, all these bands, big bands, are very, very much inspired by Merciful Fate, and I have a great amount of respect for that. And Denmark is a great metal country, but it's like it's been a bit in the shadow of two very big metal giants, of course Norway and Sweden. But now I guess this Danish metal stage or the scene has rised a lot, and we see a lot of bands right now signing signing big contracts with big labels and stuff like that. And I think now is a kind of a golden age. But Danish metal, of course, and growing up in Denmark, knowing about the Danish metal scene, there's so many great bands like Ill Disposed, Dawn of Demise. I also have a huge amount of respect for Volbeat, even though they are like very separate opinions upon that band. You know, Michael Poulsen, who is Volbeat, started as a death metal singer in a band called Dominus and put out 4 records. So it's a huge metal country. Invocator as well, and a lot of great bands has come out of Denmark.
How about those old school hard rock bands like DAD and Pretty Mates?
Yeah, you know, DAD is a fucking national treasure of Danish rock music. You know, I think my teenage years and it's also for my friends, their teenage room was plastered in DAD, and like they've been a rock band. They've been around since the 80s, and they're still on, man. And they're also playing like the main stage after us as well, and they're still national treasure. And Pretty Mates is a whole, you know, culture for itself as well. They kind of made it in I think Japan. They grew kind of big in Japan back in the days as well, and like they're from the same part of Denmark as us, Jylland, which is kind of like countryside Denmark, tractors and weird funny accents and stuff like and that's pretty cool as well.
Okay, the last question, because we are now here in Copenhagen, and there are so many great bands over here, and you already mentioned in advance that you saw Kiss for the first time.
Yeah.
So what kind of opinions you have from those big bands? You know, many of those bands are playing here for the last time.
Yeah. It was amazing watching Kiss yesterday. I just want to tell that. You know, amazing show. And amazing performers and amazing, you know, tracks. It's rock music. It's simple rock music plastered into a great, fantastic show with fire and fireworks and lights and you know, idols. Fucking Gene Simmons, fuck man, Paul Stanley, doing like in a swing in the middle of the crowd and stuff like that. It's a monster magic show, you know. And I guess I'm a part of like a generation right now who's like saying farewell to all those big bands, and I'm still wondering who's taking over. I don't know if anybody will ever take over. I don't know. There's some good like examples. I guess Lamb of God, Slipknot as well is a modern, I guess so, headliner. Who's still around. I said Lamb of God, Mastodon as well. There's some great examples for like our modern like headliners, but you know, I don't want to like go into that discussion about like saying farewell. I know Kiss is like their farewell tour, but the music is still around, and that's like, I guess it's immortal, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's a big problem for any promoter in the future is how to have the headliners.
Yeah. I guess
You mentioned a couple of names which are possible.
possible. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's difficult.
It's difficult, yeah. It's difficult because I also think throughout time the metal stage or the metal scene has broadened. There are so many subgenres, and the time when those bands came up, I think it was a more simple time. You know, heavy metal was heavy metal, and no like subgenres and stuff like that. Of course, they attended throughout time, but those bands were like they were the core of what heavy metal was. And as soon as we still got them around, you know, they are still doing headlines. But if you decide that Baest is becoming the new big main stage headliner, I guess I'm on. I'm off for grabs.
You are available.
Yeah, I'm available.
I think this is a great way to end.
Thank you.
Thank you.